The grated mesh tasted like ozone and ruptured copper. I remained perfectly vertical. Every other crew member on the engineering tier lay completely flattened against the floor. If you ever sign a mining contract in the deep drift, check the emergency structural limits first. You might survive the disaster, only to realize your own body is the terrifying anomaly. 3 hours earlier, our shift rotation was routine. I fumbled my diagnostic stylus. It barely cleared my fingertips before my hand snapped down, snatching the metal rod midair. Vril clicked his mandibles. He adjusted the primary drive core. Your motor control is highly erratic, Marcus. The medical officer maintains your calcification deformity requires immediate marrow-thinning therapy. My skeleton is functioning adequately, I replied, tuning the thermal regulators. Focus on the stasis field, or this rig vent's atmosphere. Above us, the secondary coolant pipe hissed. I knelt. My left work boot felt slightly loose. I pulled the synthetic fabric tight, looping a double knot over the steel toe guard. If the backup generators failed to catch the power fluctuation. Crack. The main stabilizing strut sheared. The artificial G-force suppressors went into total freefall, then violently overcompensated. A noise like a massive sheet of ice snapping down the center echoed through the hull. The downward pull instantly multiplied. My coworker slammed into the metal grating. His thorax hit the plating with a sickening wet thud. A hollowed-out quartz geode sat on the nearby console. Vril had spent the morning painstakingly painting it blue for his spawn's upcoming hatching day. The kinetic wave hit. That delicate crystal instantly collapsed into fine dust under its own sudden, massive weight. I blinked. The alarm screamed in a deafening red strobe. I was still standing. The downward pressure pulled at my shoulders, but my knees hadn't even buckled. The alien wheezed, his 4 eyes wide with unblinking agony. He stared up at me. His mouth parts scraped against the steel, trying to form words his crushed lungs could not push out. I looked down at my hands. They were perfectly steady. The station was supposedly experiencing a catastrophic, lethal crushing force. To me, it just felt like a brisk walk back home. The deck plating groaned, a deep, metallic scream, under the exponential stress. Rivets popped like rifle fire, ricocheting off the titanium bulkheads. The main stasis console sparked green argon plasma. Vril stopped moving entirely. His thorax was visibly compressing by the second. The primary core, Vril choked out, blue fluid bubbling from his spiracles. Safety rods, locked. Sector detonation in 2 minutes. I grabbed the manual override wheel. It was forged from solid depleted uranium, designed for pneumatic assistance systems that were currently dead offline. The station's artificial gravity was spiking past 4GS, pinning the entire engineering crew to the grating like crushed insects. Dr. Zell, our chief medical officer, lay trapped near the airlock, frantically broadcasting a sector distress signal over the open comms. The automated warning system blared overhead, counting down the milliseconds to total reactor meltdown. Millions of tons of hypercompressed ore sat in the cargo bays directly below us. If that core breached, the resulting shockwave would ignite the raw material, turning this entire commercial mining sector into a radioactive debris field. I let go of the uranium wheel for a single second. My palms were sweating. I wiped them thoroughly against my heavy canvas work pants, making absolutely sure I had a dry grip. Then I pulled. The metal shrieked, a sound like tearing paper, as the locking mechanism gave way. My tendons burned, but the heavy will turned. Dr. Zell stared at the biometric feed displaying on their cracked visor. Your skeletal density, the doctor broadcasted, voice vibrating over the open frequency. It is not a calcification disease. You evolved for this crushing pressure. Earth was not a home. It was a gravitational anvil. The heavy safety rods slammed into the core matrix. The reactor hum dropped to a stable, low bass note, but the physical toll remained absolute. A junior technician named Kale, only 14 cycles old and still shedding his juvenile carapace, lay motionless beneath a collapsed ventilation duct. He had been carrying a diagnostic spanner. His three-fingered hand was still wrapped tightly around the rubber grip. The emergency lighting cycled back to standard white. I stepped over the collapsed ventilation duct. Vril lay staring at the ceiling, taking slow, ragged breaths. Next to his pinned arm, the fine blue dust of the shattered quartz geode sparkled under the halogen glare. My heavy work boots left deep, perfect treads in the powder as I walked away.